What's your connection to the film?
So Walter Arlen is someone I've known for decades, and I know a lot of the characters in the film. He's a music critic, obviously, and a composer, and my family was very involved in classical music and also Austrian emigrés, so we're sort of in the same circle, and he really represents for me sort of the last of this wave of Austrian refugees who came to California and lived here, and that includes, of course, my family.
You mean those specifically from the music field, or including the film and
Well,
theater?
yeah, most of the music refugees ended up here in California because of Hollywood. They could get jobs here. My grandfather Schoenberg was a teacher. He was older and didn't work in Hollywood, but my mother's father did, and Walter actually didn't work in films, but was a music critic. But there was just a large contingent of Austrian composers here in California, and they taught all the music to the studio people, right? So everything you hear in sort of that Hollywood sound, that comes from these Austrian composers who taught the Americans how to do it.
Oh, that's neat. Now the Hungarians say that it's their sound.
Well, there was a couple like Miklos Rozsa is Hungarian, but that's the same community really, Austria-Hungary. The Hungarians, they follow on. I mean, it's part of that Austrian tradition that comes from Vienna.
Now, with Woman of Gold, that's a picture did you get that made?
Well, it was a movie that was made about the film, about the case that I handled for Maria Altman, and was relatively successful, with Ryan Reynolds playing me, and Maria Altman was played by Helen Mirren, and that's already 5 years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago. So, but it's I was not really a part of making the film, but I did help the screenwriter a little bit in putting the script together, and I saw it being filmed, and I was very happy with it. They did a great job.
It was Oscar nominated?
It was not Oscar nominated, actually. No, it was released early in the spring, and generally those films don't get Oscar nominated, but it was the most successful independent film of that year in 2015. Yeah, it stayed in the theaters for a long, long time, and I think Helen Mirren did get a Golden Globe nomination for it.
Yeah. So, of course, having been to those heights, it's hard to compare anything fairly. But what about this picture about Walter Arlen's life?
I thought this is the first time I saw the film, and I was very impressed. I obviously know a lot. I know Walter, and I know a lot about his history and a lot about the history in Austria, and yet I learned a lot from it. And I think everybody will learn quite a bit. He's really remarkable, which I knew already. He has perfect recall of basically everything that happened in his 100-year life, and it really comes out in the film, where he draws on those memories to really to put you there in those terrible times in 1938, for example, when he talks about his aunt scrubbing the sidewalk with a toothbrush, or his mother having a nervous breakdown and things like that. So you really feel the distress when he tells the story, different from when other survivors do. You feel he's there, and then the story of coming to Los Angeles and learning and writing and meeting his partner, and then starting to compose again. I think it's a terrific film. I think they did a great job. I wouldn't be surprised if it won a lot of awards.
Would you see an American cable network picking it up?
I hope so. I think it is primarily Austrian-focused story, but I think it's important for Americans also to see that, because it's part of our history that we welcomed refugees like Walter Arlen and gave them a life here, and they really had an impact on our world here.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Very articulate. Have you considered a career in oration?